Another thing that I noticed in my life that I wanted to pinpoint when it comes to these invisible barriers. Whenever I used to sit for exams, you see, sometimes the exam takes 2 hours. You know, the invigilator tells you that you have 2 hours to finish your exam. So you are just told start. So whenever the invigilator used to just say start, I used to suffer deep sleep. I used to doze off, like, you know, that heavy dosing that when you get up from it, it's like I've been working. I feel even tired. I even breathe like I've been dozing off, like serious sleep. And remember, I'm in an examination room. Time is moving. Sometimes the things that used to wake me up when someone moves, or when the invigilator says that 30 minutes gone, you have 1 hour, 30 minutes remaining. Then I wake up from this dozing off or this deep kind of sleep. Then I'm like, oh my God, I need to finish my work. I need to do this work. That's when I gather myself and do the paper. There's some papers I never used to finish, by the way, but what I think now that I look in the hindsight, it means the questions that I used to answer, I answered them well, because all through my university, I never failed even a paper. I never failed even a paper. Oh, and this dozing off happened even in my diploma level and even my other levels of education. So one time I was even telling a family member that, you know, I used to suffer this thing of dozing off. Then someone is like, oh my God, the same thing happens to me. I always doze off the first few minutes when the examination begins. I do, and it's such a strong dose that when you wake up from it, you feel like you're tired. It's like you've been working. Now that I'm spiritually woke, I know that was the work of the enemy to make me fail. You know, every paper, I'm telling you, I used to do. Still, I even kind of try to open my eyes and tell God, please keep my eyes open so that I can do this paper. The first, like, let me say between 20 and 45 minutes were very, very heavy in each paper, whether it's the morning paper, whether it's the afternoon paper. But I know when I started gaining knowledge, before any paper began, when I never used to almost do an exam, I used to go at least in a day or so of fasting, just so that I may pass that exam. So even some of these trials that would come through, I would still pass the exams, thank God. But I want to tell you, I want even to tell parents, sometimes you see your child dozing off or not passing an exam, or just when this child is about to do an exam, the child gets sick, or a child gets so sleepy, like I used to get sleepy, like almost in all the papers I used to do. The first few minutes, I used to doze off. And some people, even the things that happen to them is that even a question that you are teaching other students on how to do them in class, when the same question comes repeated the same way you used to do it, you become blank. You totally forget what you learned. Or you see the question paper, all you remember is your name and everything else becomes blank. Sometimes it's not that a child is stupid. Sometimes it's not that a child did not prepare well for the papers, whether a child or an adult. Whoever is doing the exam did not prepare. It's just the schemes of the enemy that affects you. Time came that I used to pray whenever I used to go to do an exam. I used to tell God, Father, as I go to do my exams, let your holy angels surround me. Wake me up whenever I want to do a paper. Wake me up, remove any form of distraction that would come my way. My guardian angel, be at guard. Watch over me and go on a search and destroy mission. Destroy anything that is just coming to harm me as I'm doing my papers. That was the only way. And it's because I gained knowledge, at least now I had started gaining knowledge on spiritual warfare, that I gained knowledge on some of these things, that it helped me even to do exams. I always used to, even before I went to that exam, I used to tell God, send my guardian angel and the holy angels who were sent to me to that exam room. Let them start surrounding it, that any evil purpose against me will not prevail. I'm telling you the kind of dozing off that used to happen to me, let alone the struggle I went through finishing a diploma course all the way to university. Listen to my story, you will get to know about it. So when I talk of these invisible barriers, I'm talking about things that I personally went through and I understand. That's why sometimes whenever I do this teaching, some people feel that, oh, your teachings are either sometimes too negative or there's no hope or grace in them. My friend, you can go to church, we go to church, we listen to the grace and everything, but we've seen in Deuteronomy, which talks of curses and blessings. Some of the things you go through are curses that, or are things that even happened in your descendants, things you have no recollection about. So anything that happens to you that is not normal, and it's a continuous pattern, either to you only, continuously, or continuous even to other members of the family, that is a curse. That is an invisible barrier that you need to go to the root cause, and you need to delink yourself and disassociate yourself from it. So these are the things I'm talking about, invisible barriers. Remember, I have said invisible barriers are things that you cannot see but have a negative effect on you. There are things that oppress you spiritually. Just like God, when God blesses you, you do not see it in your naked physical eye, you see the blessings, but you just see things changing, or doors opening for you, or up for you, or opportunities and breakthroughs happening. That's the same way whenever there are curses or invisible barriers, things just shut for you. Where people are getting blessed, you don't get blessed. Where people are going ahead, you find yourself stagnated. You suffer from near success syndrome, spirit of almost there. Just at the brink of your breakthrough, something happens. Those are the things I'm talking about. And that is why today we are talking about invisible barriers. I also want, even before I give you the types of invisible barriers, I want to tell you of a story of a lady I personally met, who was once telling me her story. So this lady wanted to relocate abroad. I'm just trying to give you the snippets of my story and people's stories so that you know that these invisible barriers are real. And by the way, where you have fought the most, that is where your victory is. That is where the biggest part of your destiny is. That's where the enemy is fighting so hard so that you cannot achieve some of these things. Yeah, so I'm telling you a story about this lady who wanted to relocate abroad. She got a job abroad that she was now doing her paperwork to relocate. So this lady has done, this lady did the English test. Now there's this international English test that someone has to do when you travel to some of these countries. She failed this English test 12 times. 12 times of trying over, and she's a professional. She is, as she was telling me the story, she was already working in her current country, but she just got a job abroad. How the enemy doesn't want you to grow. So she did this exam 12 times, a few times in her country, even changed towns, did one in Nairobi, went to another town and did some, failed all of them. And in fact, now when they see, it's called what, algorithms, when now they see the pattern of you failing, even the times you passed, I think the system will just write fail on you. So she kept failing and failing and failing. Then someone advised her, because you're failing so many times, and definitely now you cannot pass because the system kind of has rejected you. Because it's so many times that it's like the algorithms don't expect you to pass. So you'll just always be a fail. You know, you're rejected even by the system. So she decided to go to the neighboring country, which was offering the same English test for people who want to go abroad. So she went and started a whole paperwork afresh in this country, this neighboring country, and again did the English test there. She did again a few times where she still failed. But eventually, I think I don't know the what time, not the 12th time in total of the two countries, she finally passed. So when she finally passed, that is, you can imagine one English test is so expensive. She's done 12 times, of which you can find when you go to another country, now you're doing it again as a foreigner. So it's even more expensive. So she ends up doing that test. Finally, she gets to pass. I don't know, 2 years or something later. So now when she comes back now to Nairobi now to do her paperwork and now to start, officially her relocation process, she's already told this institution that, finally, she even looked for another job and they offered her a job. But again, as always, you must go through the immigration processes. You must go through, the test, the examination, which is the academic exam, which is the English, and now the medical test. So 12 English tests later, she's now on a final stage. She's gotten a new job, which now they've enrolled her. They've given her the, do I call it invitation letter, whatever they give for someone now to come to whichever country she wants to relocate to. Now when she went for the for the medical exam, guess what? She failed it. They found a scar in her lungs or something like that. There was a small thing with her lungs. It means they could not approve that she passed the medical test. So guess what? 12 English test later, she failed this exam. How unfortunate can someone be? And by the way, by the time she was failing this exam, the job she was called for in this other country had given her like 3 weeks to, to finish her medical, because clearly they already knew that finally she's passed her exam. And they were patient enough even to wait for, they didn't wait the 12 times. She kept applying for jobs, but this particular one,